All right, guys. So I have an interesting story for you guys today, out of Oakland, California, where violence has been on the up and up. Right? They've been dealing with a whole lot of robberies, shootings, murders, things like that. I mean, similar things that are happening across this country in these Democrat-run, super liberal cities. Now, I'm talking about one robbery here today that did not end well for a rapper who decided it was a good idea to try to rob somebody at a gas station in broad daylight. However, he did not know that the person that he was robbing was a retired police officer. And of course, it did not end well for the rapper. Take a look.
An officer who retired from the Oakland Police Department remains in the hospital tonight after a gun battle with robbery suspects. Investigators think that he was the victim of a random robbery. And KPX5's Don Lynn is live at Oakland Hospital with the latest on his condition and the latest on the investigation.
That's right, Brian. The Oakland Police Chief, LaRon Armstrong, just walked out of Highland Hospital about 10 minutes ago. He just visited retired Captain Ursi Joyner. He tells me the captain is still in stable condition. He is in critical but stable condition. He is still in the intensive care unit. His wife and 2 adult children are by his side. He says this is a random robbery, and it's a reflection of what Oakland residents are dealing with on a daily basis.
Ursi was from the city. I mean, he was raised up in Sobrani Park. He was one of the most decorated police officers we've ever had in the city of Oakland, and that he was so attached to the black community.
Reducing shootings and homicides.
Retired Captain Ursi Joyner grew up poor in East Oakland and rose through the ranks of OPD 28 years before he retired in 2019. Bishop Bob Jackson started working with the captain when he was just a young patrol officer. The bishop and his church, Acts Full Gospel, would team up with Joyner to work with high-risk individuals to reduce gun violence. He led the crime reduction ceasefire program for about 5 years. And during that time, the city saw some of the lowest murder rates.
He was what I consider the epitome of a police officer and community police work. He was just that kind of guy. I think he was just about loved by everybody.
Law enforcement sources tell me it's unlikely the 3 suspects knew him when they robbed him yesterday at a Chevron gas station. Joyner shot and killed 1 suspect. Sources say Joyner was shot 6 times in the legs and stomach. 2 suspects drove off in this Nissan sedan. Unclear if it was a stolen car. At this time, investigators don't believe the robbery is linked to his business. Joyner is a part owner of 2 cannabis companies.
I'm almost sure they didn't know who he was, because I don't know anybody that didn't, even guys that he had to put in jail, he had to arrest. I even think they came out thanking him, because he probably saved their lives.
But he was also beloved by the rank and file, beloved by members at all levels of the organization.
The president of the Officers Association says a responding officer rushed Joyner to Highland Hospital with his police car.
He's a retired police officer, but you know what he also is? An Oakland resident getting gas at a gas station, set upon by some brazen robbers in the middle of the day. That could have been anyone.
And that's what neighbors and nearby workers of the gas station are talking about, raising situational awareness.
It did change the way I was thinking, and normally I'm just whatever, kind of nonchalant, going into work, just another day. But this morning, it was a little freaky,
We're glad to hear that at least the captain is doing as well as I think he can be after suffering 6 gunshot wounds. But do we know anything about the suspects and the person that was killed in the robbery yesterday?
Right, in the interview with the chief about 10 minutes ago, he says right now, no arrests, no one's in custody. He would not release information about the suspects or any suspect descriptions. As for the man who was shot and killed yesterday, friends are claiming that to be a Vallejo rapper. The police chief would not confirm that.
Got it. All right, at Highland Hospital, that's Don Lynn. Thank you. Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf addressed the shooting of Captain Joyner and why it hit so close to home.
All right, guys, so let's read a little bit more information about the victim, right? And I'm using that very, very loosely here before I get into my commentary. As Vallejo rapper Lil Steez fatally shot while attempting to rob ex-police captain. One person is dead and another gravely wounded following a shootout at an Oakland gas station on Thursday afternoon. According to ABC7, retired police captain Ursay Joyner was shot 6 times as 3 men attempted to rob him as he pumped gas. Joyner fought back and wounded up, shooting and killing one of the suspects, who was later identified as SOB times RBE affiliate Lil Thieves. Former FBI investigator Rick Smith notes it will more than likely be ruled self-defense, explaining, quote, "I think he was entirely justified in shooting the suspects. He felt his life was in jeopardy. Disturbing video of the incident has Oakland residents on high alert." Yeah, I definitely think this is classic self-defense. I don't think anybody is going to be arresting this man, okay? Especially consider how decorated he is and how much of a positive contributor he is to the community, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. I just think the situation in Oakland is horrible and getting worse every day, and that's an example of how bad it is. He added, "There's an increased rate of fear and terror and a lack of peace." As journalist Sergio Quintina explained in a tweet, quote, "Here's a security camera video of the fatal shooting in downtown Oakland. Detectives say 3 men tried to rob retired Oakland Police Captain Ursay Joyner near downtown. After a struggle, shots are exchanged. Joyner fatally hits 1 man, then he is shot multiple times." Reports state Lil Thieves was pronounced dead at the scene, while Joyner was rushed to the Highland Hospital, where he is currently fighting for his life, but in stable condition. In a cruel twist of fate, Johnson had led the police department's ceasefire anti-violence initiative from 2013 until his retirement as captain in 2019, working to contact residents vulnerable to crime and violence and provide services. All right, so yeah, these guys unknowingly, again, these idiots, unknowingly tried to rob a police officer, right? Tried to rob somebody at a gas station. And then, again, they didn't know this guy was packing heat, right? He was a trained shooter, okay? And, hey, this is what happens when you participate in a life of crime. Now, I did go and listen to some of Lil Thieves' music, just if he was decent at his art, and I can see why he felt the need to resort to robbing people, because he definitely probably was not making money off of his music, okay? But again, guys, you have a story here about a retired police captain whom happens to be black, was a positive contributor to his community while he was a police officer, going the extra mile to try to stop violence. After he retired, he owned 2 businesses, so he's an entrepreneur as well. In that video, you can see so many people are sad, so many people are upset that this man is in the hospital because these people tried to rob him, whom happened to be black. And the only thing I think about is that, what if this went the other way, right? What if, Mr. Joyner here lost his life? Then what we're looking at here is a retired police officer, somebody who did good in the community, a business owner who tragically lost his life to some thug rapper, right? Trying to rob him. And this right here, this story, all too often goes the other way, right? It goes in the direction of the person being robbed being killed, being the victim. And good for Mr. Joyner here that he was armed, okay? So, I mean, like I said, hey, for anybody, again, watch this video, probably a good idea to arm yourself for situations like this where he could protect himself and use self-defense. But again, what if it went the other way? And you would have had somebody as a positive contributor to the community, in a community that needs somebody like him, a role model. His life would be taken not by white supremacy, right? Not by the white man, but other black folks. Again, these people right here, that participate in these type of activities, again, these are your sellouts, right? These are the people that's the issue. This is the problem. And listen, I'm not saying that stuff like this doesn't happen. Obviously, stuff like this happens in other communities as well, to other people. I get it. But I'm just saying, this is an example of what thug life typically ends up, right? This is how it typically ends up. In the grave or in jail, right? That's typically what happens here. So I hope that situations like this will deter other people from trying to rob random people at gas stations, right? Because you just never know if they're armed. And again, this is why it's so important to have an armed society, to protect yourself from this type of stuff. Again, part of me is like, if it would have went the other way, would this had even been news? Would anybody have said anything about it? Or would it just been like another David Dorn situation where, You have a cop that was a positive contributor to society, a black man that's retired, that unfortunately lost his life to thugs and criminals. And it is very fortunate that it didn't end up that way, because that's easily how it could have went. That's how a lot of these situations go. In the media, they never talk about it. They never want to talk about it. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.